Hi everyone, welcome for this Infinity Kingdom video. I'm Panda Morasha and today we are going to talk about dragons and more specifically the versus between Holy Shadow Dragon and Elemental Dragon. So this versus become important because if it's true that Holy Shadow Immortal have become much easier to get, the dragon is still a trap. Like to max out a dragon, you need a lot of crystal, and these crystals are not easy to come by, and there is no free way to get them. Like you can buy them from the VIP store, you can have some in the daily deal. Here. And you have the Dragon Knight bundle. So the most efficient are the three first. After that, it becomes more expensive and you get less crystal per dollar you invest. And then it will be mostly event, right? So it will cost a lot. I'm checking because, yeah, there is this one. That give a bit, but I'm not advised again for this one. I don't know. Doesn't seem very cost efficient compared to the Dragon Knight as an example. So it will cost a lot of money and time to max out an Holy Shadow Dragon, and what I see is a lot of players going with for Holy Shadow Immortal and using a baby Holy or Shadow Dragon like this Shadow one, which is not built at all, and it actually gives less stat than if you use an elemental dragon instead. So if you compare purely in terms of stats, so we are not talking about accuracy resilience. You don't necessarily have to take them, but on elemental you can because it's cheap and easy and free to get. But we are talking about attack and defense that you get on this node, on some node, and uh, purely in terms of stat, the Holy Shadow Dragon with portrait versus elemental with portrait, it's a ratio of 40 to 50. So an elemental dragon with level 50 in portrait is the equivalent of a Holy Shadow Immortal full with 40 in portrait. Okay, so it's very high, right? 40 portrait is no joke. So there are other things you give up, sure, like you will be giving up on the passive. So you won't have the second part of the passive. You still will have the crit and dodge value, but you will lose on this one. As an example, in addition, Immortal have their skill damage increased by 15%. That you won't get because you will put an Holy, and the Holy will be reserved for the element, and you won't have this element because you are running for Holy or for Shadow, as an example. So you will lose that, and then you will lose bonus. Like if I take this, I have 4 Holy Immortal. From some are Chaos, but they turn into Holy, and an Earth Dragon. So what happens is I lose the troop HP plus 10%. So that plus the passive, we can say that it's approximately like 5 level of portrait, maybe something like that. So you will not switch your elemental dragon before your Holy or Shadow Dragon is full with all skill and stat, and have a level like 35 in portrait, something like that. So I am working on my dragon for years now, and I'm quite a big spender, not a whale, but I'm quite a big spender. My portrait is only level 20 on my Holy Dragon, and I am not even full in stat and skill. I still miss one level of skill, and I have this bad node, very expensive node to max out too. So I'm still pretty far to be able to run my portrait above 20, and I would need it 35, finish it first and then portrait 35 before I can plug in my Holy Dragon instead of my Earth Dragon. So that gives you an idea. So run down the number, do your math, and make sure you can get to the finish line before you decide to invest in the Holy Shadow Dragon, because it's really a long time plan and a very costly plan. So make sure you have what it takes to get there. If not, then just use an elemental dragon instead. You will be better off with it. All right. So now, which elemental are used with which march? So Earth and Lightning are fairly polyvalent. They are dragons which have defensive tool and offensive tool at the same time. So they can be played with almost everything. So Earth and Lightning can be played with Holy or Shadow. It's both okay. Arguably, Terran is better in Holy, I think, but they can be played in both march without any issue. The Fire Dragon, however, is purely Shadow. It doesn't work with Holy at all because it's a burst dragon, and Holy doesn't do burst. Holy is more about sustain. So Ignatius is for Shadow March. Then you have the Water Dragon. In my opinion, it's a bad dragon and shouldn't be played because there's too much RNG involved. But should you choose to play it, I would put it in a Holy March because it's more defensive and it have higher defense. Uh, yeah. Overall, I think it's better in only physical attack for Manko, high magical defense, and two fairly defensive skill. I think the skill kit is better for Oli, but to be honest, I would not play Glindwir at all. And then the Wind Dragon doesn't work with neither of March because it's specified to win troops. So even the second skill is win troops, so you would basically play with only one skill on the dragon, which would be pretty bad. And that's not really a big deal because the wind dragon anyway is very hard to build. It takes a very long time, and it's really for wind march. There is no really real polyvalence in Zephyr. So yeah, I would play mostly Earth, Fire, and Lightning. It would be one of these three dragons I would choose. Fire for Shadow, Earth and Lightning for Holy or Shadow. And yeah, max out your Elemental. And if you can, build your Holy or Shadow Dragon. If you can't, then it's not a big deal, right? You don't lose too much about it. Like my March is almost 700k, so it's not that bad, right? Yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope to see you all later. Bye bye.